I remember the scent of freshly cut grass mixed with hot asphalt more vividly than anything else from that day. It was one of those late May Fridays where school felt optional, almost imaginary. Teachers were already drifting towards summer, and so were we. I was 12, all elbows and impatience, convinced that weekends mattered more than anything else in the world. The moment I got home, my backpack hit the floor, and my phone was in my hand. I texted my cousin before my shoes were even off. His real name isn't Cole. I'll call him Ryland. We were the same age, born months apart, close enough that family gatherings blurred into everyday life. He lived 10 minutes away in a quiet neighborhood where every house looked different but followed the same unspoken rules. Neat lawns, bikes abandoned in driveways, porch lights clicking on as dusk settled in. Ryland and I grew up side by side. Same elementary school, same dumb jokes, same instinct to stick together when something felt wrong. We weren't inseparable, but when we were together, things felt steadier, safer. That Friday, there were no plans, no movies, no rented games, just the shared thrill of not having to wake up early the next day. Around 5, my mom dropped me off at his place. His house was a single-story ranch with faded tan siding and a big family room that smelled like old carpet and lemon cleaner. His older brother Jace was home too. He was 15, taller, quieter, and permanently unimpressed by everything we did. Not bossy, not protective, just present. We ordered pizza sprawled on the floor, argued over the console. Everything felt normal. Then my mom called. I saw Ryland watching my face as I answered, probably noticing the shift before I said anything. "It's Grandpa," she said. Her voice wasn't panicked, but it wasn't casual either. He was at the hospital, just overnight, just observation. Both sets of parents were heading there. No need for us to come. No need to worry. Jace would be in charge. Stay the night. Lock the doors. Don't open them for anyone. I promised. When I hung up, Ryland grinned. An unplanned sleepover. That should have been the end of it. Just another forgettable night. But some moments split quietly, without warning. A normal day becomes a line you never fully cross back over. The knock was the first crack. It was around 9. The sun was gone, but the sky still held a dull blue glow. The TV was loud. Pizza boxes were stacked in the kitchen. Jace was grabbing a soda when 3 firm knocks hit the door. Not aggressive, not friendly. Ryland stood up. "I'll get it." I followed, staying just behind him. 2 men stood on the porch. Adults, late 30s, maybe early 40s. Dark jackets. One wore a baseball cap pulled low. The other had a thick mustache and eyes that looked exhausted. "Evening," the mustached one said. "City services. We've had reports of water pressure issues around here." Ryland blinked. My parents aren't home." The men exchanged a glance. "That's fine," the man in the cap said smoothly. "Just checking if you noticed anything. Noise in the pipes, low pressure." Ryland hesitated. I could see it. He didn't want to say the wrong thing. "I think it's fine." That's when Jace stepped in beside him. Calm, controlled. "Everything's working. Parents aren't available. You can check with the neighbors." The mustached man smiled, but his eyes stayed flat. "All right," he said slowly. "Have a good night." They left. The door closed. The lock clicked. We stood there longer than necessary. "That was weird," I said. Jay shrugged. "Probably nothing." And we believed him, or pretended to. The night settled again. Teeth brushed, pajamas on. A sleeping bag on the floor, so we could all stay in the same room. We talked until the words ran out. I don't know how long I slept before fear woke me up. It didn't announce itself. It just nudged me awake with a feeling I couldn't explain. I stared at the ceiling, listening. At first, I thought I imagined it. A soft sound, like fabric brushing against wood. Then again, footsteps. Not near the bedroom, farther away, in the family room. My heart started racing before my brain caught up. A drawer slid open. I whispered Ryland's name. He woke instantly. Jace followed, confusion fading as he saw our faces. We crept down the hallway. Every step felt wrong. The family room light was on. They were there. The same two men. One was digging through the entertainment cabinet. The other turned toward us and smiled. Then he pulled out a knife. I don't remember thinking. I remember running. Jace shouted. Ryland grabbed my arm. We sprinted for the door. The handle stuck for half a second that felt like a lifetime. Then it opened. We spilled onto the lawn barefoot, screaming. A police car drove by. I don't know how, I don't know why. I just know we waved like our lives depended on it. Because they did. The men were arrested. A laundry room window was broken. They knew we were alone. The officer said we were lucky. I didn't feel lucky. I felt hollow. Years passed. Life moved on. But something stayed with me.
Something quiet and permanent. I started noticing doors, windows, shadows. And years later, when strange things happened again, a figure in the woods, footsteps circling my camp, a man opening my window, a stranger staring at my house, I recognized the feeling instantly. That quiet shift, that voice that says, "This isn't normal. Pay attention." I've learned something since then. Monsters don't always roar. Sometimes they knock politely. Sometimes they smile and say they're from the city. Sometimes they wait for you to be tired, or alone, or asleep. And sometimes you survive not because you're stronger, but because you listened. I still lock my doors. I still watch the shadows. I still trust my gut. Because sometimes the danger doesn't announce itself. Sometimes it just knocks. I wouldn't say we were poor, but we weren't exactly comfortable either. We lived in a modest ranch-style house on a quiet street where everyone recognized each other's cars, and kids rode bikes until the streetlights flickered on. Back then, parents didn't think twice about leaving doors unlocked. It felt safe. Normal. I'm 21 now, but this happened when I was 10. And even after all these years, I still can't sleep with my curtains open. Life was simple then. School during the week, cartoons on Saturday mornings. Fridays were everything. Pizza, movies, and sleepovers. No phones, no social media. Just VHS tapes and microwave popcorn that always burned a little around the edges. That night, my friend Brenna was sleeping over. She lived 3 blocks away and had been to my house so often, my mom barely looked up before telling us to take our shoes off and not spill soda on the carpet. Brenna had a loud, contagious laugh and always smelled like strawberry shampoo. That year, we were inseparable. We dragged our sleeping bags into the living room, since that's where the TV was. My parents didn't mind as long as we promised to keep the volume down after midnight. "I'm not waking up early tomorrow," Brenna said dramatically, flopping onto the carpet. "Good, because I'm not making breakfast," I shot back. We laughed, filled bowls with popcorn, and argued over what to watch. Eventually, we landed on some cheesy PG-13 thriller we were probably too young for. The kind that only feels scary because it's late. When the movie ended, the house was completely quiet. My parents had gone to bed hours earlier. The only light came from the street lamp outside the big front window, casting a dull orange glow across the floor.
I remember thinking how calm everything felt. That's probably why what happened next messed me up so badly. I don't know what woke me. There was no noise, no crash, no scream.
Just that sudden awareness, like my body realized something before my mind did. I opened my eyes and listened. The house was silent. Brina slept beside me, breathing slow and steady. The TV was off. The digital clock on the cable box read 2:17 a.m. I rolled onto my side, facing the front window. That's when I saw him. At first, my brain refused to accept it. I thought it was a shadow, maybe from a passing car or a tree branch moving in the wind. But the shape was wrong. Too tall, too solid. A man was standing outside. He was close, way too close, right up near the glass, like he belonged there. The streetlight behind him turned him into a dark silhouette. Broad shoulders, head slightly tilted forward. He wasn't moving. He was watching. My chest tightened so fast it hurt. I told myself I was dreaming, that if I blinked, he'd disappear. Then he shifted his weight. Just a small movement, but enough. Enough to prove he was real. I gasped, and the moment I did, his head tilted, just slightly, as if he knew I was awake now. I screamed. I don't remember my feet hitting the floor. I don't remember grabbing Brina or looking back. I just ran, screaming down the hallway. Dad, Dad, someone's outside. My parents' bedroom door flew open. My dad stumbled out, hair sticking up, confusion written all over his face. What? What is it? There's a man, I cried, barely breathing. He's at the window. He's right there. My mom appeared behind him, panic already on her face. What do you mean, right there? My dad didn't wait. He grabbed the cordless phone from the kitchen counter and moved toward the front door. Stay back, he said sharply. He flipped on the porch light and yanked the door open. Nothing. The yard was empty. No man, no movement. Just bushes swaying slightly in the night breeze. Did you see his face? My dad asked, stepping outside. No, I said, shaking. It was too dark. Brina stood behind me, pale as paper. I didn't see anything, she whispered. My dad came back in, locked the door, and called the police. They arrived about 15 minutes later. 2 officers walked the perimeter with flashlights, checking the yard, the windows, the fence. One crouched near the flower bed, under the front window. Looks like someone was standing here, he said, pointing to deep impressions in the wet soil. My stomach dropped. He was real, I whispered. The officers exchanged a look. Anyone have a reason to mess with your family? One of them asked. My dad shook his head. Not that I know of. They stayed a while, patrolled the area, then left with the usual advice. Lock your doors. Call if anything else happens. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. 3 days later, my dad got a call from a block number. He answered it in the kitchen. All we heard was heavy breathing on the other end, slow, deliberate. Hello, my dad said. Who is this? Click. The next night it happened again, and the next. Then the breathing turned into words. You think you're so damn smart, a man growled into the phone. One evening, you ruined my life. My dad went completely still. After a few more calls, he recognized the voice. It was a man he'd fired months earlier. Someone let go after making inappropriate comments at work. When the police got involved again, my dad started keeping records. Dates, times, voicemails. Then the man slipped up. I've been watching your house, he snarled during one call, waiting for you to screw up. That was enough. The restraining order came through soon after, and just like that, it stopped. No more calls, no more breathing, no more shadows. But the damage was already done. I'm 21 now. I live alone. I lock my doors twice. I check my windows every night. and sometimes when a streetlight throws the wrong kind of shadow across my wall, I feel that same cold fear crawl up my spine. Because once you know someone can stand outside your window watching you, you never really forget it. I grew up in a town so small, it barely existed online. Half the time, typing its name into Google Maps sent you somewhere else, like even the internet didn't bother remembering it. We had one high school, one grocery store, and a bike path everyone swore was safe, simply because nothing bad had ever happened there. That's how places like that survive. Nothing bad ever happens until it does. I was 14 that winter, old enough that my parents trusted me to walk home alone, young enough to believe danger always announced itself. I thought fear came with shouting, footsteps chasing you, some dramatic moment where your instinct screamed loud enough to hear. That isn't how it works. Real fear doesn't rush in. It slips quietly into your life and settles there before you realize what it is. That night started off boring, normal. I'd been at my best friend Hollis's house, stretched out on her bedroom floor while we argued over movies. Her room smelled like vanilla candles and clean laundry, the heater clicking on and off like it always did. "You're staying too late," she said, checking her phone. "Your mom's going to kill you." "I'll walk fast," I said. "It's not even that cold." It was freezing. When I stepped outside, my breath puffed out in thick white clouds. Streetlights stretched long shadows across the snowbanks, and the whole town felt muted, like someone had turned the volume down on the world. "Text me when you get home," Hollis called from the door. "I will," I said, shoving my hands into my jacket pockets. The bike path cut behind the houses like a scar, crossing a small bridge before splitting in two, one direction toward the river, the other toward my street. I took it all the time. That night, the ice made it slick, and I walked slower than usual, my boots crunching softly. Somewhere far away, a dog barked once, then nothing. That's when I heard the bike. At first, I thought it was the wind. Then came the unmistakable scrape of tires on ice. I stepped aside without thinking. An old man rode past me. And when I say old, I mean ancient. His back was hunched so far forward it looked painful. His coat hung off him like it belonged to someone else. The bike was rusted, the basket bent inward, the bell dangling loose from the handlebar. He had to be in his 80s, maybe older. I wasn't scared yet, just confused. Why was he out here, at night, in this cold? He didn't look at me. His eyes stayed fixed ahead, unfocused, like he was following something I couldn't see. Up ahead, the path split. I slowed, watching him pedal toward the fork. He turned left, toward the river. I waited until he disappeared into the dark. Then I turned right, toward home. I'd taken maybe 10 steps when the bell rang. Ding. It came from behind me. Every hair on my body stood straight up. I turned around. He was there. The same man, the same bike, rolling toward me slowly, deliberately. His eyes locked onto mine, cloudy and pale, but sharp, focused, not lost, not confused. Walked. I started walking faster. So did he. Not rushing, not lagging, just close enough to stay behind me. I told myself I was imagining things, that he'd taken a shortcut, that old people got turned around. But when I reached my porch and fumbled with my keys, my hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped them. I looked back. He'd stopped across the street, sitting on his bike, watching. Not moving. Not blinking. I went inside and locked the door. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I convinced myself it had been nothing. I was in my dad's garage, doing my usual workout. Jump rope, sit-ups, music low in one ear. The garage door was open, letting in weak winter sunlight. That's when I heard it. Click, like a camera shutter. I spun around. The street was empty. I stood there for a moment, heart pounding, then shook my head. Get a grip. I went back to jumping rope. Then I heard a chuckle. Low. Close. I turned. He was standing inside the garage. I screamed so hard my throat burned. "Oh hey," he said gently, lifting his hands. "No need to be scared." "What are you doing here?" I shouted. "I just wanted to say hi to such a beautiful girl." He stepped closer and pulled something from his coat. A small bouquet of roses, wilted and brown around the edges. "These are for you." His smile was wrong, too wide. His eyes never left my face. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but I was 14, alone, terrified. I thought if I took the flowers, he'd leave. So I reached out. The moment my fingers touched them, he pulled out his phone. "You're all sweaty," he giggled. "Might want to cool off. Take that shirt off before you get heat stroke." "No," I said. He stepped closer. I screamed. I shoved him. He fell back. I ran inside, screaming for my parents. By the time we came back out, he was gone. The security footage showed him entering the garage. That was enough. After that, I wasn't allowed anywhere alone. 2 nights later, I went to a sleepover. I didn't want to, but my parents thought being around friends would help. The house belonged to Brina, near the edge of town. Quiet street, big yards, no sidewalks. "Relax," Brina said, tossing her jacket aside. "You're safe here." Her parents left around 9, heading to a neighbor's house. We hung out in the basement. There was a large window near the stairs that looked out into the backyard. While Brina and Jules laughed and drank soda, I stood near the window. My chest felt tight. I leaned closer to the glass. A flash of light exploded in my face. I screamed. His face was pressed against the window, smiling. Another flash. A picture. Jules screamed. Brina ran. Footsteps thundered outside. I fainted. They never found him. Years later, I still hear that bell in my dreams. Ding. And I never let my son out of my sight, because it only takes a few seconds for a life to change forever.